Well, we've started a thing. It's that time of year. We've kind of got the wheat, a lot of the wheat sowed. We've got the rye sowed. He's finishing up the rye this morning. We still like a little bit of wheat, but this morning we started peanuts. So we're digging peanuts. We just got the machine set, the digger set, and I am digging peanuts. I'm gonna be your host for the day, I guess. I'm probably not as entertaining as Seth. I'm better looking, but we'll go with that. And he's off in CDL training, trying to get his CDL, so he can make some of those longer trips other than Oklahoma City or Woodward or somewhere like that. So we're after it, and we're on GPS RTK, so I don't have to hold the steering wheel. We decided several years, we went with GPS, geez, it's been several years ago, when you had a motor that mounted to your dash or somewhere, and it had a little wheel on it, kind of like used to the remote controlled cars. You'd have a little steering wheel, and it would have a little sponge, and it would press down on that steering wheel, and it would sit there and rotate and turn your wheel for you. Well, that was a finger getter. And I bought a tractor that we converted to integrated RTK, or not RTK yet, but integrated GPS guidance, auto steer, and liked it. And I just did some reading, and with peanuts especially, you the amount, if you're just off 3 or 4 inches off of your row, the amount of peanuts you could lose would pay for, within a couple years, pay for the RTK setup. So we bought a base station. There wasn't a base station out here, so we bought a base station, and we set it up on RTK. The planning and the harvesting, it also saves us when we're sowing wheat or plowing. We're not overlapping a bunch, we're not doing skips, so we don't have blank spaces that weeds can come up. We don't have those overlaps, so we're wasting seed and fuel trying to do it. And so that's what all this is. I'll try to see if I can show you. And I'll show you the digger a little bit more. This is it in action. There's some blades, some big blades, sweet blades under there that cut the tap root off. And then there's some lifters, sorry about that. There's that kind of lift, fingers that lift, and then the final deal is it goes up that chain, and then there's some fingers at the back that flip those peanuts and invert them to where the peanuts are sticking up so they can dry in the air. We'll let them sit here and dry for about a week to 10 days, and then we'll come in and with our peanut combines or harvesters, whatever you want to call it. It's a lot like a combine in a way, that you got your rotor or your cylinders and your concaves, except they've got teeth like hay balers and some of that it rakes it through and tears, kind of separates the peanuts from the vine. And we haul them to the buying point, and from there they go to they go to, I'm trying to do too many things here at once. They'll go to a storage facility, and then they'll go on to whoever buys them, the candy companies. These are Spanish peanuts, so these will probably go to a candy company and find them in a Snickers bar or a Payday or something like that. The runner peanuts that we grow, sometimes it just kind of varies on price what we grow. We've grown runners for years here. Father-in-law did, and I have too, and they're more for oil, I think. And then your Virginias and Valencias, in which we've done some Virginias, they are your ballpark peanuts that you get at the ballpark or Texas Roadhouse, some of those places. So these are a smaller peanut. They've kind of got them, they've kind of specialized them, bred them up for us. Got a phone call coming. Okay, I told you I'd show you the digger. We've hooked it onto a tractor. This is our 8320R tractor, and this is the digger. We've got these coulters to kind of cut in front of the shanks, and you got these big sweep plows that go down and cut the taproot, and those little fingers on them will lift them, and then it gets into the belt. The chain used to be a chain, it's on belts now, but the fingers, the rods that lift them up and kind of shake them a little bit, shake some of the dirt off, and then we go back around here, and those are just some gauge wheels that kind of help hold it. And this is the inverter, as those wheels catch the vines and pull them over, and then these rods right here, the way they're positioned, it flips them to where they are upside down. It looks complicated, but it's simple at the same time. As long as we keep it greased, we park it inside when we're not using it. These peanuts out here on the end, the reason they're brown, it's been really dry this summer, and I'm probably not going to dig all of them. Part of them, there's no nuts on them, so there's no use in digging them. We actually are running, it's kind of hard to see probably over there, the pivot is running right now. We are watering to make it to where we can get underneath the peanuts, kind of see peanuts on the vine where it's flipped them up. We're just getting started. It's going to be a back and forth all day today and tomorrow. We got 63 acres and a 4-row, we call it a 4-row digging machine. It takes 2 rows, it takes the 4 rows and flips it into 2 windrows is what we're doing. And then we've got, like I said, the combine, we call it a 4-row and a 6-row, 2 combines or thrashing machines, and the 6-row will take 3 windrows and the 4-row will take 2 of these windrows. one thing I didn't show you a while ago is, it's kind of hard to tell probably on this camera, but over there by our gate, that orange gate, there is some brown, and it's more evident as we get further down the field, but for some reason it just started dying. We haven't figured out why. We've had some specialists come out and or I'll back up. Our local co-op has got a real good agronomist, and he came out. He's been around peanuts all of his life, and he came out, looked, and had his son come out, which is kind of, he is the area peanut specialist, and they came out and looked at it, and they couldn't figure it out, and the water crosses over it, so we don't think it's drought, which we got drought going on, because you've got these peanuts that look like this, and then you've got spots that, like I said, it's kind of hard to tell. You can kind of see some of it over there, but he got a hold of, his son got a hold of some even more. Hey buddy, there's a grasshopper specialist out, and they looked at it and said the lady that came out was on her hands and knees, really kind of digging around trying to figure out what it was. I was afraid it was a disease, and still haven't figured out if it's disease, but they looked at it and they've sent some samples off trying to find out, and we haven't found out yet what it is. And I'm leaving that right now, because if it's a disease, I don't want to spread that disease, and so we are, you can kind of see it a little better now probably over there. If it is disease, I don't want to spread it through the field, so that's kind of why that's still there. I'll dig those last, and I will mark that little area when I dig with a post or something, so when we come back in, we start on this side of it, and thrash with combine those last again, so we don't spread if it's a disease. They said it, you know, it kind of looks like it's peanuts that stand in water, and I agree with them. But this year nothing has stood in water, and it kind of happened in that started dying in August, and late July, August had a little spot, and I wasn't too worried about it, and it's kind of spread. So we thought it's chemical drift at one time, but we hadn't really figured that out either. So just a little fact, peanuts are really susceptible to diseases. We got little spots out here. I'm fixing to hit one that's a little bit brown, kind of trying to die. Some of it when these peanuts get mature, they trying to fill that peanut, the plant's trying to fill the peanut, the nut, the meat part of it, and so they'll stress, and we kind of went through some of that. There's another little spot over there, and that place usually holds, some of these places usually do hold a little bit of water, but like I said, I just can't this year. I can't imagine it being I can't imagine it being too wet this year, with as dry as it's been. But like I said, just a fun fact. I'm going to get y'all on the outside here in a little bit and let you enjoy the outdoor weather and running back and forth. Like I said, it's just going to be a long day back and forth, and it's a slow process. We're running like right at 3 miles an hour on this, and it's if I had more peanuts, we'd have a bigger machine to do it with, but with We used to have about 200 acres of peanuts, and now we're down to 63. I keep wanting to put in dry land peanuts, but the deer population, I know you can't. Matt could have seen that orange gate, how tall it is. We actually put a game fence around the place to keep the deer out, because during the summer a lot of times this is the only green, and it's a lagoon, so the deer love peanuts. And so we had to talk. My father-in-law was still alive, and I kept trying to help him come up with ways to figure out how to keep the deer out. We tried hot wires, we've tried different things, and I finally said, the only thing I can figure out is a game fence. And it was expensive, but these peanuts, he would always grow 3,500 to 3,800 pounds of peanuts per acre, and it got down to where we was about 2,200 pounds per acre, and knew we had to do something in order to keep farming the peanuts. This old ground is sandy, really sandy, and it about the best thing it grows is peanuts, rye, and Bermuda grass. And if we was going to continue to farm the peanuts, we had to do something. And so we decided to do a game fence, and I think he lacked only $2,000 or $3,000, maybe $4,000 paying for the fence. That difference of the 2,200 pounds and the 3,800 pounds, because we made 3,980 pounds of peanuts per acre that year, and since then we're pretty close to that 4,000 pound mark. And last year was kind of the drought and the way the rains fell. We were a little low, was a little over 3,200 pounds. We've hit a high of 4,700 pounds. Hit the second highest, I think, was 4,200 pounds per acre, which is pretty good for this area. No more water than we got. We start out, we've got to put a meter on it. It seemed like we normally start out at around 500 gallons a minute, and right now we're running about 250 gallons a minute. This year the last 2 years we started at 400 gallons a minute and wound up at that, like I said, 250. In the normal years, whatever normal is nowadays, we start out at we'd start out at 500 gallons and wind up at 250 to 300 gallons a minute. So it's been a tough couple of years, but we're getting through it. Good Lord help us, and He'll provide, and we'll survive this. It may not be the way we want to survive, but we'll survive, and may live another day, and hopefully keep farming. I know Seth, he wants to keep farming, and that's kind of one of the reasons we're doing some of the things that we're doing. Is when father-in-law, he got later in years, he didn't want to replace any equipment, and I get it, and so we're having to replace some equipment and hopefully pass it on to Seth in good enough shape that he can keep farming for years to come, and he can enjoy it out here. Farming is it's a way of life. It's a business, but it's a way of life. And if you farm, you've got to find a way to make it work. If you have to get another job to do it, or we do a little custom work here and there with hay baling every now and then, and some combining. interrupt your ride on the back, but I don't know if you can see up here. These are all hawks. I've never seen it like this. There's hawks all on the pivot, and I'm not good with this camera, so I don't know how to blow this up. But these hawks are just, I don't know if they're passing through, if they just saw me plowing and looking for rats and rabbits and snakes, whatever is out here. I can't even begin to count. There's at least 40, 50, maybe more of these hawks. It just, like I said, I've never seen anything like this before. They're lighting. That is we grow rye there. We're irrigating rye, trying to get it up right now, and they're lighting on top of that pivot, and they're all out in the field. You can't hardly see them probably on the camera, but I can see, geez, there may be 100 hawks out here. I'm not real sure. By the time you count all the ones on the pivot landing on the ground, it's just amazing. We call them chicken hawks. Don't know where they got the name or anything like that, but anyway, I thought it was just kind of interesting. Well, we're about to finish up. I'm doing the last few rows here that are the bad stuff that we've had. All of a sudden the plants basically died. Surprisingly, there's a few peanuts on them. I'm not going to say they're any good, but there's some peanuts on them. That's all I can say. Maybe just shells, but this is what I was talking about, that in a distance that I don't know that y'all could see, but they just it's kind of like somebody said, it's almost like they drowned it out. And then we wondered, maybe chemical, and some of the specialists are saying it's not chemical, but they don't know if it's diseases or what it was. So I'll put you over here and let you kind of ride the last few rows maybe, and Seth can do with it what he wants to with the video. So kind of see what goes on in the cab a little bit. Sometimes I don't know what goes on the cab. I'm doing these little outside rows where there's so much turning and dodging stuff, so it'll leave me a middle where I can get out to kind of get around some stuff. Hopefully I don't run into a well or a riser or electric box. Electric box would not be fun. Neither would the riser well. Especially since we're irrigating right now. Trying to run the water on the rye that we got. Might be the only pasture we get. Probably should have planted, if we wouldn't have been watering peanuts, I'd have planted it first to get it kind of going. Oh, come back. Still got moisture where we watered. Kind of surprising since it was so dry over there on part of it, but this was about a day and a half later getting watered. Can't see it because you're turned around. Here, I'll just do this. Nope. Back up. That one right there, we've redug 3 of them already, and actually getting more water than we were out of the old wells. So not a bad thing, but an expensive thing. Just probably each year we'll have to redig. There's another one that we've drilled a new well. Didn't re-drill, but drilled a new one in its place is what we've done. It's kind of grown up in some weeds, but yeah, that's kind of what our plans are. If we're going to keep doing this, we've got to re-drill them and keep them going. We're the ones with stovepipe try to do. Hopefully we don't have more than a bunch of them go out in 1 year. So I don't know how many more. There's 11 wells on this place, and so we've redug 3, so we still got 8 more to go. But I think some of them have already been re-drilled a while back, so maybe not that bad. Still can. This is the last 4 rows. Don't look at the pile. Look away. A lot of times, if the stems, once we run it through the machine and the leaves, if we just don't grind them up, we can windrow them and bale it up. Cattle love it. It's a legume, so it's got some protein to it. And there you have it. Digging Peanuts 2024. We're done. We're shutting the machine off and taking it to the barn. Gonna clean it up, put it in the barn. I mean, it's pretty, like I said, I think I started explaining yesterday when the battery went out. We used to have about 200 acres that we did. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot of peanuts. don't have, I mean, we've got enough equipment for it, but it's a timing deal. Some years you can get into freezes where you got to get it done before the freeze, but the deer have just made it to where you got to have a high fence around it to do it here. Just haven't, I don't know, just haven't committed yet to do that. And the dry land peanuts, I don't think they would have made the last few years. So, well, I hope y'all have a great day, and maybe I'll get to, I don't know, it depends on how bad I did today, how much Seth, if he likes what I did or not, if I get to see you again. So, see you later.
Well, I'll be dang if Dad didn't do all the peanuts by himself because I was in that dang CDL class. But guess what? We're at the corn. We got a dozer that's blown up. That's a moment. It's not my dozer, at least. And then I got the scraper going. So we're building a dike along the edge here. This at 3 acres. And then I'm building a dike along this hay grazer right here that was supposed to come up and didn't, you know. And so I'm gonna be at this for about another hour. I'm just going right down the road here, picking some up, bringing some back. But as you can see, I've made it about 30 feet or so right here. So it's working pretty good. He's gonna bring his dozer over here and smooth it out for me, and that'll make it a whole lot better whenever he gets to working on it. I wish the dozer wouldn't have blown up because I would have videoed it, but I'll video it tomorrow. It'll work out. Alright, so I have to crawl up here on stuff that I've already dumped and then just kind of ride it out real slow like, so that way I don't get bounced right off of this thing. But it's quite bouncy up here. I probably put about 8 dump. Well, no, I can count it. I don't want to count. I put right around 10 dumps on here, and I only have I've got halfway across it, but I'm just making sure that we got plenty of dirt out here. I think we'll have, man, the dirt's getting hard again where I'm getting it at, but you're gonna get to watch it go over. Tilted to one side a little bit. Oh, I better stop for a second. I can't multitask very well. There it goes. That's what I wanted. I'm a little off on which way to drag it to, but that's Justin's job, not mine. He really didn't blow up the motor in it. He had an oil pressure light come on, and it was really strange because it just popped on, and he was like, well, that's weird, and got out, and he had a trail of oil behind him. He's like, well, that's really not good, and he had it killed whenever that happened. So that was really good that it was killed, but he had just a little sensor on the side of his engine that it screwed itself off. So I helped him tear it apart. He really didn't need any help. I just helped him tear it apart, and, well, put it back. I mean, I tightened it up, but he's out of oil, so he can't run tonight. He was kind of sad about it. So I'll help him put it back. Well, if he needs help. If he needs help putting it back together, I'm gonna shut down, and I hope you really enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the peanuts, and hope Dad did a good job. And we'll be back out here tomorrow working on corn. Peace out, Girl Scouts.